Hi guys, my name is Katie. I'll reintroduce myself. So this week we are working on persuasion speeches, and what I'm going to do is try to persuade you about dog food. You have certain types of dog food. My family actually owns a dog store, so I know a little bit about that. The best food for your dog actually would be things that do not contain controversial chemical preservation, no anonymous meat ingredients, no artificial coloring ingredients, and no generic animal fats. So a good food, for example, would be Fromm, which is a 4-star nutrition. And the ingredients include duck meal, peeled barley, sweet potatoes, brown rice, oatmeal, white rice, dried whole eggs, and millet. There are a lot of other things such as dried tomatoes, there's oil, cheese, flaxseed, there's the main ingredient obviously is duck. The second ingredient is the duck meal, which is a meat concentrated containing nearly 300% more protein than just a fresh duck. There's also barley, which is the third most important ingredient, which is a starchy carb that supplies fiber and a healthy nutrition. The fourth ingredient is sweet potatoes, which are gluten-free, and it's a source of complex carbohydrates in a dog's food, and it naturally is rich in dietary fibers and in beta contents. And then the fifth ingredients would be brown rice, which is also another complex carb that once cooked can be fairly easy to digest for your dog. It's easier on their stomach. And then the sixth ingredient is oatmeal, which is a whole grain product made from coarsely grounded oats, naturally rich in vitamin V. It's a dietary supplement. A dietary fiber, and depending on the level of purity, it is also gluten-free. Let's see here. There's white rice, which is the seventh ingredient. That is a little bit less nutritious for a form of rice in the grains, which are healthier. It's an outer layer that has been removed. Let's see here. The eighth ingredients would be the dried whole egg. It's a dehydrated powder, which is made from shell-free eggs. It's easy for the animal to digest, and they have exceptionally high biological value. We also have millet, which is gluten-free grain, and that's harvested from certain seeds and grasses. It's also vitamin B and fiber, as well as other essential minerals that are needed. And there's something, it's called tomato pomace, which is high in fiber for your dog. My goodness. Safflower oil, which is naturally similar to a sunflower oil. And flaxseed, which is one of the best plant sources of healthy omega-3s. And that is a fatty acid, which is rich in soluble fiber. And let's see. The bottom line for that is Fromm, which is the 4-star nutrition, is an above average, highly recommended dry dog food, and it's featuring plant-based protein and meat-based protein. So if you look on the back of the label, you know exactly what it is that you're getting versus if you buy my next point, the bad food, which is pedigree. And what pedigree contains actually is kind of gross and kind of disturbing. I know that I would never want to feed my dog this. It has ground whole grain corn, meat, bone meal, which is a source of calcium, corn gluten meal, animal fat, sources of omega-3. Let's see, there's preserved with BHA and citric acid, soybean meal, natural flavor, chicken byproduct meal, dried plain beef pulp, ground whole grain wheat, salt, potassium chloride, brewer's rice, chloride, dried peas, calcium carbonate, zinc sulfate, vitamin E supplements, dried carrots, and let's see, there are also the dyes. There's blue dye, yellow dye number 5. There are 6 decalcium, let's see, My goodness. Actually, this is awful. There's still vitamin B, but there's red 40, there's peroxide, hydrochloric, vitamin B, copper sulfate, sodium. Let's see. The first ingredient, which would be corn, which is not favorable for any dog. And the reasoning for that is it is inexpensive and it is controversial corn grain, not a preferred component in any dog food. The second ingredient would be the meat and bone meal, which just sounds disgusting, but it is a dried, redundant product from mammal tissue, including bone, exclusive of any added blood, hair, hoof, horn, hide trimming, manure, stomach, and any extra contents. Meat and bone meal can have a lower digestibility that most of the meat meals don't have. And then scientists believe that this decreases the absorption and it may be due to the ingredients higher in ash and lower in essential amino acids. What's worse is that the particular item is anonymous, so you don't even really know exactly what it is that you're actually getting. So the meat itself can come from any combination of cattle, pigs, sheep, goats, which can make identifying specific food allergies impossible. So if your dog has some type of allergy, and since you buy this pedigree, you're not going to be able to know what you might be able to eliminate in order to help your dog digest better. Let's see here. A generic ingredient like this is not good quality at all. The third ingredient is corn gluten meal, which is a rubbery residue remaining once the corn has made most of its starchy carbohydrates wash out and has a lower biological value than meat proteins. That just sounds awful as well. There is animal fat, which is generic byproduct of rendering the same high temperature process used to make meat meals. No mention of a specific animal that this could come from, and it's almost anywhere. So it could be roadkill, spoiled food items, oh goodness, dead items, diseased or dying cattle, which is something that I would never ever want to feed my dog. There is also, let's see, what's worse about this actually is that fat is preserved with a BHA and it's suspected cancer causing, and that is one of the agents. So if you are buying this food, you really don't know exactly what it is that your dog is getting. There are other ingredients such as the soybean meal, which is a byproduct of a soybean oil, most commonly found in the farm animals' feed, which is lower biological value than the meat protein. There's, let's see, chicken byproduct meal, which is a dye-redundant product of slaughterhouse waste made from what's left of the chicken that they don't use. There is beet pulp, which is a controversial ingredient, high in fiber, but it's a sugary process. And there is also wheat, which is another cereal grain and subject to the same issue as the corn would be. Let's see here. So the bottom line basically is pedigree is an inferior plant-based dog food using a modest amount of poultry, byproduct, and unspecified meat and bone meal, and its main source of animal protein. No dog should ever eat this food, ever. I hope that you learned a little bit more about what's best for you. If I could persuade you in any way, it would definitely be to get the Fromm, which is the 4-star, because you actually know what ingredients you're getting. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day.